The asteroid hit. The sky caught fire. 3/4 of all life on Earth was gone in a geological instant. No more T-Rex, no more Mosasaurus, no more Quetzalcoatlus. The food chain didn't just collapse, it was erased. And into that silence, into that emptiness, into a world with no apex predator and no competition, something crawled out of the undergrowth. 13 meters long, 1 ton, a body wider than a human being is tall. It didn't evolve slowly into dominance. It simply filled the void. This is the story of the animal that inherited the Earth after the dinosaurs burned. 66 million years ago, a rock 10 kilometers wide hit the Yucatan Peninsula at 70,000 kilometers per hour. The energy released was 2 billion times greater than the largest nuclear weapon ever detonated. In the first hour, the impact vaporized everything within 1,000 kilometers. In the first week, debris re-entering the atmosphere heated the surface of the entire planet, like a global oven. In the first month, dust and sulfur blotted out the sun. Photosynthesis stopped. Plants died. The herbivores that ate the plants died. The predators that ate the herbivores died. 3/4 of all species gone. But here is what the textbooks skip over. Not everything died. Some things survived. Small, burrowing, heat-tolerant organisms that could hide underground or underwater and wait out the darkness. Among them, snakes. Before the asteroid, snakes were small, marginal, background creatures in an ecosystem dominated by giants. They hid in the shadows of sauropods. They scattered from the footsteps of T-Rex. They were nobody's main character. The asteroid changed that. In the silence after the impact, the shadows belonged to them. And one lineage was about to do something extraordinary with that inheritance.
For 60 years after the extinction, scientists assumed the post-asteroid world recovered slowly, gradually, carefully. Small mammals crept out of their burrows. Plants regrew from seeds. The food chains rebuilt themselves tier by tier, cautiously climbing back toward complexity. That picture is wrong. Recent research shows the recovery was faster and stranger than anyone expected. And in the tropics, in the hot, humid river basins of what is now South America, it was dominated almost immediately by one group of reptiles: snakes. Specifically, a family of constrictors that began growing at a pace evolution rarely permits. More food, less competition, warmer temperatures. Every ecological pressure pointed in one direction: bigger. Titanoboa cerrejonensis reached its full size approximately 10 million years after the asteroid. In geological terms, that is fast, shockingly fast. 13 meters, 1 ton, a body cross-section that a human being could not wrap their arms around. And it wasn't just big in the way that a long snake is big. It was big in a structural, architectural sense, the way a bridge cable is big, or the main beam of a building. Dense, muscular, designed to exert pressure that nothing could resist. Here is the moment Titanoboa entered science. A coal mine in the Cerrejón region of northern Colombia. Miners are extracting coal from seams that were laid down 60 million years ago, ancient river sediments compressed over millions of years into black rock. A paleontologist named Jonathan Block is sifting through the excavated material when he finds a vertebra that makes no sense. It's too large. Vertebrae scale directly with body size in snakes. This one implies a snake larger than any living species by a factor of 3. He finds more, then more. Ribs, skull fragments, a partial skeleton that begins to sketch the outline of something that simply should not exist. The team returns for 4 field seasons. They recover fossils from at least 30 individual animals. And the math
becomes undeniable. The largest specimen was approximately 13 meters long and weighed close to a ton. The average specimen was still larger than any snake alive today. Titanoboa wasn't a freak outlier. It wasn't one giant individual. It was a species, a successful, thriving, dominant species, living in the post-asteroid jungle for millions of years. Science had been missing it the entire time.
To understand why Titanoboa grew so large, you need to understand one uncomfortable biological truth. Cold-blooded animals don't have a size limit the way warm-blooded ones do. Mammals hit a ceiling. Metabolism, heat generation, bone stress, the energy cost of keeping a large body warm. Reptiles have no such ceiling. In theory. In practice, size is limited by food availability and ambient temperature. Here is the key. The early Paleocene tropics, the world Titanoboa lived in, were significantly warmer than today. Mean annual temperatures in the Cerrejón Basin were estimated at 30 to 34 degrees Celsius. That's 4 to 8 degrees warmer than the same region today. In that heat, a reptile's metabolism accelerates. It digests faster. It grows faster. It can sustain a larger body mass because the environment itself is doing some of the metabolic work. Titanoboa wasn't an accident of evolution. It was a mathematical output of its environment. The warmer the world, the larger the cold-blooded predator it can support. And the Paleocene was the hottest the Earth had been in tens of millions of years. Titanoboa was the planet's own creation, a living thermometer for a world in thermal shock.
Now let's talk about what Titanoboa actually did. Because the image most people carry, a giant snake slowly crushing prey in the jungle, is incomplete in ways that matter. Titanoboa was primarily aquatic. The fossil site at Cerrejón was an ancient river ecosystem. The same sedimentary layers contained giant turtles, Carbonemus, with shells over a meter wide, and giant lungfish and early crocodilians. This was not a jungle floor predator. This was a river ambush predator. The hunting strategy would have been recognizable to anyone who has watched a modern anaconda. Submerged, motionless, virtually invisible in murky water, waiting for something to approach the riverbank to drink. Then, explosion. Not the slow, methodical strike of a python. A burst of acceleration from a coil of muscle the diameter of a human torso. The prey, whatever it was, had no warning and no escape. Constriction by Titanoboa wasn't squeezing in the gentle sense. It was the application of pressure beyond what any bone structure in the Paleocene world could resist. Giant turtles with armored shells, early crocodilians with reinforced skulls. Titanoboa ate them anyway. It didn't hunt at the top of the food chain. It was the food chain. For approximately 10 million years, Titanoboa ruled. And then, it didn't. The climate began to cool, slowly, irreversibly. The same warming that had enabled Titanoboa's size began to reverse as the planet's thermal equilibrium shifted across the Eocene epoch. Cooler temperatures meant slower metabolism. Slower metabolism meant slower growth. Smaller body size became not just possible, but necessary. A body that large in a cooler world could no longer sustain itself. Titanoboa didn't go extinct because something defeated it. It went extinct because the environment that created it stopped existing. The river deltas cooled. The jungle changed. The thermal conditions that had allowed a 1-ton snake to reach 13 meters and dominate an entire ecosystem faded away over millions of years. And with them, Titanoboa faded too. By approximately 58 million years ago, it was gone, replaced by smaller constrictors, the ancestors of anacondas and boas that exist today. The largest snake that ever lived left behind no direct descendants of comparable scale. Just fossils in Colombian coal, and a question that sits quietly under everything we think we know about biological limits. If the planet warms again,
and it is warming. What does the math say about what comes next?
Here is the fact that should stay with you. Titanoboa was not a monster in the dramatic sense. It was not aberrant. It was not a biological error. It was the correct answer to the question its environment was asking. Warm world, empty niche, unlimited food, zero competition at the top. Evolution's answer? 13 meters of muscle, patient in river water, waiting in the dark for 60 million years of tenure as Earth's apex predator. And we almost never found it. It took a coal mine and a paleontologist who noticed that a vertebra was the wrong size, and 4 years of field seasons in northern Colombia. Without those accidents of discovery, Titanoboa would still be completely unknown, a blank in the fossil record, an apex predator that ruled a continent without leaving a single entry in the scientific literature. How many others are there? How many animals ruled this planet, dominated entire ecosystems, shaped the evolution of everything around them, and left no trace we found yet? The asteroid didn't just end the dinosaurs. It started 10 million years of Titanoboa. And somewhere in rock we haven't opened yet, the next impossible animal is waiting to be found.